Okay, today I want to show you a little bit more with HTML, how that works, and in addition, we're going to start looking at another language that is very important for the way the internet works today. There's actually three main languages that are used on most websites today. The two of them are the most immediately important, and those two are going to be the ones that we focus on the most in this class. I'm going to start a new project here at Replit, and I don't remember tab 2. I don't remember what I've named these things. That's fine. And you can follow along. So, we've been looking at HTML so far. We've just gotten started. We're going to go a little bit further with that today. But there are three main languages that we would refer to as client-side languages. These are HTML for the hypertext markup language. We also have CSS for cascading style sheets, and I'll explain a little bit of that today. And then we also have JavaScript. JavaScript is a scripting language. You can kind of think of that as a high-level programming language. When I say high-level, what I mean is that it's not really for machine code. It's not like close to the electronics level. It's not really operating at that low level. It's really more of a high level. So this is a language that is designed for use on a computer that's running an operating system, that's running an internet browser. So and it runs inside of that browser. So it's very high up the chain in terms of all these little applications that are inside of other applications, inside of a basic CPU. It's much more readable by humans and used by humans. So we refer to it as high level. It gets closer to the human level, and that's what we mean by that. It's a scripting language, so you're not really writing programs. You're more taking a program that already exists, in this case a web browser, and you're just writing instructions to tell the web browser what to do. So you're not like creating the web browser, you're just giving a little mini program to the web browser, and we call those scripts. So this is considered a scripting language. We're going to do a little bit of JavaScript in this class, but not a lot, and not right away. So mostly we're going to ignore this file, which should be empty. We are going to look at CSS, and a little bit we'll start that today. This file should also be empty. But go ahead and let's start with your index.html. And I want to build it up from the ground up so that you kind of understand what each part does better. So I'm going to delete everything that's there, and you should do the same. Okay, so before we did go over, welcome to this video tutorial. How are you? Before we learned that a little bit about markup. So if I wanted a break here, I can type BR and press enter, and I get a break tag, which will give me a line break in between those two lines. And we mark up our code to achieve certain effects, to create a structure in HTML. We went over that last time. And remember, the break tag is kind of an odd tag because there's only one. I should say the break element is an odd tag because there's only one tag. There isn't a closing tag like so. Because it does something simple. It just creates a line break, and you don't need anything sandwiched in between. Whereas most tags, if I wanted to create an element, I would wrap words with a pair of tags. And when I click one, notice that it highlights the corresponding other tag. So it lets you know what belongs to what. And that creates a strong element, which appears bold. So usually tags appear in pairs like this, an opener and a closer. You know, you can kind of think of it like a hamburger bun. There's a top bun and a bottom bun, or a top slice and a bottom slice, and you got to sandwich things inside of them to create an element with around what's considered their contents. But there are a few little elements that don't require a second tag, because you don't sandwich anything in between them ever. One of those is the image tag, so I'm going to show you that now. I'm going to look up cats, or cat, and I'm going to go to images. I'm going to pick a cat. How about this one? So when you click one of these pictures, you might see like a little loading bar down below if it's a high resolution picture with a lot of data to download. So you might see a little loading bar. You have to wait for that to complete. So wait for the loading bar to go away. And then once you're happy with your picture, you can right click on it, copy image link. I'm in Firefox, so that's what it says. I believe in Chrome it will say copy image address. So you copy the location of the image, and now I want to put in a picture after the how are you. I'm going to type IMG and press enter, and it creates a single tag. This creates an image element, and there are attributes inside of the tag. Of course, you don't have to use the autocomplete feature. You could type it yourself. So we want an image tag, right? Now to set attributes, one way to do that is to go inside of the first tag, and in this case the only tag, press space, and then we can set attributes. So we want to set the source attribute, and we need to basically say src equals, and then in here I can paste the link. So I'm getting a search engine link. I don't want that, so I'm gonna go here and click it, and there I get the picture, and here's the full URL for Universal Resource Location. That's what URL stands for. So I'm going to click that and say copy, and now I'm going to put that inside of the quotes. That looks good. Now if I run it, I have this tremendously huge cat. Okay, a little big, a little too big, but there we go. That's an image tag, and that's how you can get a picture onto your website. So that's a new tag that I'd like you to know about. Now, a very common best practice with image tags is to put an alternative text thing here. So cat. That way, if the picture doesn't load, it would just have like a little empty box that says cat. That way, the person would know what you intended to put there if the image, for some reason, doesn't load. Let's say the site goes down. But otherwise, if the cat does show, you won't see that. So anyway, that's an image element, and you do it with one tag, img space, and then you set the source attribute by setting equals, and then in quotes, you paste the link, the URL, and all of that happens inside of the pointy brackets of the first tag. So that's how you add an image. Okay, the next thing I want to show you are a couple of other things that you can do. So just like how I made this video thing bold by wrapping it with the strong element, or the strong tags, let's say I want to make this whole sentence here a link. I want to make it linked to, let's say, Newman's website. I'm going to use what's called an anchor tag, which is just you just do that with an A, and on the other side you got to close it with an A. So now I've made this what's called an anchor tag or anchor element, and that means it's a link. To make it so, if I click that, run it, nothing changes because I have to set where it goes. Where does it take you? So I need to set that attribute. So in the first tag, I'm going to press space and type href for hyperreference equals, and then in quotes I can put the link. So I'm going to just paste that same cat and then run it. And now you see I have a link, and if I click the link, I go to the cat. Nice. We could make it go to Newman's site. So www.newmanschs.org. Alright, now if I click it, well, this is what happens to me when I go to Newman's site. I get blocked, but it should work for you. That should take you to Newman's site. That's how you create a link. You do that with an anchor tag. It's just a little A tag on both sides, a closer and an opener. And in the opening tag, you set the href attribute equal to something in quotes, and that's the URL you want to go to. Maybe I want to go to intel.com. Hopefully that doesn't get blocked. Click it. Okay. AMD. Let's see if their competitor works. Alright, so I'm just going to open this in a new tab, and there's my link. If I click that, it'll take me there. So I think REPL, for some reason, is trying to protect you from going to other sites, but there you go. That's how you make a link. So these are a couple new tags that you should know about. A couple of the last things I want to mention is just to introduce a few things. So what we're doing is I'm just typing stuff into this HTML document, and then I'm adding some markup. This is not actually a properly formatted HTML document. So in the next video I'll go over that a little bit more. But right now I'm just showing you the basics of how elements are created. You use tags, you wrap things with tags, and then here's how you can make a few different types of things. In this case, so we've made lists, numbered lists, bulleted lists. Now we're making, we've made line breaks, we've made things bold, italic. Now we're creating links, and now we're also creating images. Another thing that you can do is you can make the image itself clickable. So if I wrap this image element with an A tag, and on the other side I got to put the /A, I can say href equals, I guess where do I want to send you? That's another company. I don't know, Google. If I run that, I'm probably going to have to reload this in another tab. I click it now. Oh, that's not what I want to do. The cat. Notice the little hand appears when I over the cat, showing it's a link. So if I click it, boop, I go to Google. So you can make even an image. You can pretty much make anything link by wrapping the whole thing with an anchor tag, an anchor element. Okay. Okay, so this cat, I'm going to delete the anchor tag I just added. And I want to show you now how to set the style of things. So we have 3 files here, and that's a more modern convention to break up it's good because if you have lots of people working on your website, the people who work on the content of the website will work in the HTML file. The people who work on the themes and the look and feel and the animations, they'll work just on the CSS style or file. And the people who create the programming and the behaviors and interactions will be more in the scripting. That way different teams can work on their own thing without accidentally screwing up what other teams are working on. This is called a separation of concerns. And it's a much more modern workflow. Originally, things were just all put into the HTML file. It was just a big mess. It had everything. But now we like to separate everything into different concerns. Content, appearance, and behavior. That's kind of the breakdown. Okay, so there's a few ways that we can style things. The best way, or the more modern approach, would be to have a separate file that we style things with. And I will go into that in the next video. But in this video, I want to show you a couple of ways that you can do this that we can use. So one thing, now this is just a really long line here. This is really just all on line 5. You can see my numbered lines here. It looks like it's on 3 lines, but that's just because it's too long to fit on one. So this is all within one line, one tag here. But one way I can set the style of this thing is I can just type style as an attribute, and I can say width 100 pixels. And if I do that, I've got a much smaller cat. This is called inline CSS. So styling is handled by a different language, different than HTML. There are no tags, there are no pointy brackets in CSS like there are in HTML. Really, it's mostly just attribute : value. So I want to set the attribute of width to the value of 100 pixels. And that's pretty much CSS right there. This is because I put it into the HTML tag, this is called inline CSS. It was kind of the original way of styling, and it is not considered a good way of styling today. But it's doable. You can do that. Another way to do it is to create a separate tag. Why am I not typing? Style. And then inside of here, I can put my CSS. So again, I want to set the width to 100 pixels, but I gotta say, because I'm not in the image tag now, I need to say what thing I want to do that to. So I'm going to type img, and that grabs the image. And then in curly brackets, I create a curly bracket pair, and if I press enter, it creates an indentation, so I know I'm in those curly brackets, and I get a line space there. And now I can type width 100 pixels, and in this way of doing it, you have to put a semicolon. That's the end of line symbol. That tells the computer that this instruction is over, and it's now time to move to the next instruction. So that's another way I can do that. This is called embedded CSS because the CSS is still inside of the HTML file. It's embedded, but it's not in the same line as the element itself. So we call that embedded, and it does the same thing. Maybe I want it to be 250 pixels. It's working just fine. Now, in the next video, I'll go over more HTML tags and a different way of using CSS where we don't even have the CSS in the same HTML file. We will put it in its own file, which is considered a better way of doing things. But these are 2 of the 3 ways of adding style. That's how you affect the way things look, or how they're sized, or how they're laid out. We style things, and you can do that with inline CSS. You can do that with embedded CSS, or as you'll see, we're going to start using what's referred to as external CSS. So outside of the file, I've got it specified all here. We'll start looking at that next time. Anyway, I hope this made sense to you, and you can look forward to the next one.